Like when I was in Japan and I was asking for direction, people would actually help me to my destination, and people willing to go over and beyond to deliver for you is something that is common in Japan, but not necessarily in America. But in America, most bathrooms are totally disgusting. And a lot of times I've walked into bathrooms with literally poop in the toilet or piss in the toilet and no one flushed. Konbanwa minasan. Kyo desu. Please forgive me if I sound stuffy. I'm actually getting over a flu that I've had for a few days now. I am better, but I'm still kind of stuffy, so please bear with me. I know for many Japanese, traveling to America is definitely a dream. And seeing that America is one of the most popular countries in the world, it's no surprise that many people want to travel to America in their lives one day. For my Japanese who want to actually travel to America, here's just 3 things you should keep in mind, I guess, to have some knowledge of before you travel to America. Now, I'm going to say some stuff that are not on my list, but I figured they should be said anyway, but I figured this is just common knowledge, so I'm just going to run through these. I recommend learning at least a decent amount of English. Japanese is extremely rare in America. You probably find it more in like California or New York, where you find more Japanese tend to live. However, Japanese people are also very rare compared to other Asians. I've seen Chinese, Vietnamese, people from Thailand. I've seen Koreans, but really Japanese are extremely rare compared to other Asians in America. And unless you live in a very Japanese community, finding people that speak Japanese is not going to be common. So at least know some English, or at least carry a dictionary of English words that you can use to communicate with people. Another thing I would say, of course, is do some research on the culture. You don't want to travel to America not knowing at least a little bit of healthy information about America and about American culture. So definitely knowing some cultural do's and don'ts would definitely help you. And also bring a healthy amount of money. The American dollar is actually stronger than the yen. So when the yen converts into American dollars, you're actually going to get less money currently, especially because now we're in a state of inflation in our country. So just make sure you also have enough to buy souvenirs or to travel, because yen to dollars, you're going to be losing money. But anyway, number 1 on my list is that Americans are friendlier, but they are not as helpful. America is very diverse as a country. There's many parts in America that feel like it could be its own country in itself because of how different the culture and the environment is. I'm assuming that if you're traveling to America, you're most likely going to be in states like California, New York, Florida, Texas, more populated states. Because you find more in the country or suburbs, you definitely get nicer people. Like there's a thing we call Southern hospitality, because people in the South tend to be more hospitable for people. But I'm talking more generally, if you're going to these more popular destinations, then this list will probably apply more to you. But just keep that in mind. Americans are more likely to start conversations with you, or they're more likely to chit chat with you, but they won't go out of their way necessarily to help you out. So let's say, for example, you're on the streets of New York. You can ask people for directions and you'll probably find a good Samaritan here or there, but generally the culture is that people don't want to be bothered. So if you ask for help, people won't go out of their way to actually help you, as let's say the Japanese would do. Like when I was in Japan and I was asking for direction, people would actually help me to my destination, and people willing to go over and beyond to deliver for you is something that is common in Japan, but not necessarily in America. So people will talk to you, but you probably won't find as much people on a larger scale or the same scale as Japan that will go out of their way to even help you more with your request. Number 2, America's dirty. One of the things that shocked me coming back from Japan was really how dirty and filthy America is. In Japan, even in the restrooms in public places were spot clean and efficient and smelled good. But in America, most bathrooms are totally disgusting. And a lot of times I've walked into bathrooms with literally poop in the toilet or piss in the toilet and no one flushed. The rooms stink. There's no soap in the dispenser. So just be prepared that when you come to America, the bathrooms are not as clean. American culture is not as clean. Sometimes you go into certain restaurants and the tables are not clean. You'll find food and dirt and garbage everywhere. Just be mindful that America is not as clean as Japan. So if you're a germaphobe or someone who's used to having very clean products, unless you live in a more higher class community where the service is better or things tend to be more on point, you're gonna find a lot of dirty places in America, so just be mindful of that. And my last point, the customer service isn't as good as Japan. I alluded this a little bit in my first point, but American service is not as good or efficient compared to Japan. In Japan, trains were on time, your food came on time, the waiters were professional, they weren't complaining about their personal lives to you, they were efficient, you got what you need, you head out. In America, it's so unbalanced that some areas do have great service, other areas don't. I think in America, the more higher class the business or place you're going to for service is, the higher quality of service. But in Japan, I've noticed that even from the highest to the lowest economic kind of business or service, the waiters or the staff are professional. When I was at Narita Airport heading back to America, I was so shocked of how good the customer service was at an airport, because American airports tend to have crappy service and crappy experiences. Like, it's completely night and day. Or even your waiters when you go to a restaurant. A lot of times I've been to American restaurants where like the waiters have been late with my food. They forget to take my order. They start complaining to me about their job and their day. And I'm like, I have empathy that your day is going bad. But, as someone who's a customer, I don't really necessarily want to hear how bad of a day you're having. In certain contexts, if I'm chatting with you and it comes up in conversation, cool. But if you're just venting to me and cursing, like I even had one waiter one time, I was with a group of friends and she would just curse and say, my effing day is so effing bad. And I'm like, yo, like, where's the professionalism? And if you go to general places like McDonald's or a fast food joint, you realize people are miserable. They're like, can I take your order? Okay, pull up. While in Japan, you get a more lively service. And that's not to say that everything in Japan is perfect, but I think generally speaking, the quality of service from the most expensive to the street level service is better in Japan. So when you come to America, don't expect Americans necessarily to have the best customer service unless, depending on the organization, of course, or how high class the business is. However, compared to Japan, America does not have that great of service. So those are just some things to keep in mind if you're planning on traveling to America. For my Japanese who have traveled to America, do you agree with this list? Do you think what I said is accurate? Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Also hit that bell as well to get notified whenever we post a video. 本当ありがとうございます。みんな気をつけて。じゃあね。